The MP Concepts smoke sequential turn signals will be a premium option for the 2015 through 2017 owners out there who are looking for a lightly smoked light for one, but something that will also incorporate the combination of both a running light and a sequential turn signal thanks to that switchback functionality. Now, price point for the pair will hover in the low $200 range, and the install, according to the site, is going to get a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, take you 3 hours or so to complete from start to finish, as we'll demonstrate later in the video. So these options from MP Concepts I think will appeal to S550 owners out there for a couple of big reasons. Now, first up, right out of the box, they're gonna deliver that lightly smoked appearance here, which I don't have to tell you guys, has been a very popular choice in the scene for basically as long as I can remember, and I'm not that young. Now, that smoked appearance in this case does come from the smoked polycarbonate lens that will flow nicely with any other smoke lighting you may have already added to your ride or maybe plan on adding down the road. Then there is the actual functionality of the lights themselves here, which I'll be the first to tell you guys is pretty impressive overall. Now, of course, these lights, the main function is to handle the turn signal duties, and they certainly still do that, but with a little bit more character thanks to the sequential operation. Now, the MP Concepts do include the diffused LED strip here down towards the bottom of the housing that will sequence whenever your turn signals or hazards have been switched on and definitely help contribute to a more custom look. But as I mentioned at the very top of this video, the MP Concepts signal lights here don't just stop after the turn signals. Now, those same amber LEDs that are on the bottom are gonna switch to a white LED daytime running light, which will illuminate whenever your parking lights or headlights have been switched on. And I think they just give the front end a little bit more visibility, a little bit more presence. Now, as that name implies, guys, those same white lights are gonna switch back to amber whenever you activate your turn signals or your hazards, and then of course switch back to white after being turned off. But on top of the lightly smoked lenses, along with that switchback sequential functionality, you're also getting 3 additional white LEDs up top here that have been implemented to handle the fog light duties of your S550. Now, all of that lighting, and there is a lot of it going on here, has been loaded into the ABS plastic housing and again, sealed up nice and tight behind that lightly smoked polycarbonate lens. Finally, guys, MP Concepts does toss in everything you need for the install, including your harness here, which will need to get spliced into some wiring to get up and running. Now, speaking of getting everything up and running, let's segue into the installation here as promised earlier. And again, some very light wiring needed to get everything functional. They do include some vampire clips to tap everything in, or you can do things the old-fashioned way, cut and crimp or solder your connections, totally up to you. But to give you a better idea of just how everything will go down and how the housing's installed in the first place, feel free to check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need an impact, 3/8 1/4 inch adapter if necessary, 7 and 8 millimeter sockets, a clip removal tool, Phillips head screwdriver, in our case, wire strippers and crimpers, also a jack and jack stands to get under the vehicle. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be installing some new turn signals on our Mustang, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a short video on how to uninstall your factory bumper, and we'll see you when you get back.
So for this install, we're going to have to get the car up in the air a little bit, and we're going to have to remove the front bumper. It's a pretty simple process. I'm going to walk you through it. So let's get started. I'm going to start by using my clip tool to remove the clips that hold the upper rad cover on, and I'll just pull these out and pull the rad cover off. So with my rad cover out of the way, I can take my 8mm socket and remove the 6 8mm screws along the top of the bumper, but don't forget the 7mm screws hiding underneath the weather strip here, and I'm just going to use a 7mm socket to get those out. Now I need to pull back my inner fender liner here up against the front bumper. There are 4 clips here on the inside of the wheel well. One of ours is missing, but just imagine that it's there. And and there's 2 at the bottom that I'll have to remove, and then I can pull my wheel well liner back far enough to gain access to the bolt that is behind the liner on the corner of the front bumper. I'm just going to use my clip tool once again to pull the clips out, and then I can pull the liner back. So back here at the corner of this bumper, there is a plastic bracket that mounts the fender to the bumper, and there's a 7mm screw that goes through the 2 and attaches the bumper into the fender. And what you're gonna have to do is take a 7mm socket on your ratchet to remove it. Now, our bumper has been off so many times that hardware is missing, but all you need is a 7mm socket and ratchet, and it'll come right out. Now I'm just gonna repeat this exact same process on the other side of the vehicle, and once again, remove the 7mm screw here at the corner of the bumper. Now you can pull your fender liner back once again and remove the 7mm screw right here. With our fender liners pulled back and the corner of our bumper unbolted, now we can unhook our fog lights and turn signals, as these are going to be coming off with the bumper when we remove it from the car. So I'm just going to unplug my connectors and pull them off the back of the lights, and then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. So next, I'm going to use a combination of a clip removal tool and a 7mm socket on my impact to remove the 4 screws and 2 clips on the bottom of the belly pan, but I'm going to leave it attached to the front bumper so everything comes off in one piece. Let's go with the screws first. So now you're going to want to very carefully pop the corners of the front bumper out. Make sure not to damage these tabs, as you will need them to reinstall the bumper. And with both of the corners popped off now, we can remove the front bumper. So now that I have my bumper pulled off, I have access to all the hardware for the headlight. I'm going to use a 10mm socket for the top and bottom 10mm screws and a 13mm socket for the outer screw. So now I can remove my headlight and unplug the connector.
Alrighty guys, welcome back. Now that we've shown you how to remove your front bumper, we can go ahead and begin disassembling our turn signal brackets so we can get those out and get our new ones in. So what we're going to do is go ahead and grab our 7mm socket on our impact and start removing our screws for our bracket. So we're going to start with these 3 up here and then work our way around. Got one under here as well. And this one. And then these in the rear here. Now you should have one down here as well. Ours is no longer with us due to previous work that's been done. Naturally, you lose a few over time. You don't need to remove your fog light bracket from the main bracket. You just need to go ahead and remove all your other screws. So then we have these tabs holding this bracket in place along the bottom and side. So we'll go ahead and give them a push like so. We can pop those out of the way. And we don't need to fully remove this bracket, as this gives us enough room to go ahead and pull our factory turn signals out. And once we have that done, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and begin installing our new turn signals. So we'll go ahead and take our harness here, slip that right through the hole where our factory connector for our factory bulb was. Go ahead and pull your harness back. Get your new turn signal lined up. Now we can go ahead and reinstall these 3 bolts because that's what holds just the turn signal to the bracket. So we'll go ahead and get these back in place. And we'll go ahead and grab our 7mm and run these back in. So now we'll get our other 2 screws in. So now that we have our actual turn signal secured to the bracket, we can go ahead and begin resetting our bracket back into place. And we're just going to line all of our tabs back up here on the bottom. Now you may need to come to the front side of your bumper to push those tabs back into their locations. Very simple and straightforward, going right back in where they came out. And once you have everything lined up, make sure you're good. You can hold the front of your bumper and just give it a little tap on the bracket to kind of reseat your tabs. Just like so. So now that we have everything back set in place on our tabs, we can go ahead and reinstall our screws. Now that we have everything in place on this side, we can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side. So now that we've got our turn signals installed on our bumper, it's time to grab our adapter harness and prep that. Now your kit does come with inline T-taps for your factory harnesses. However, our vehicle already has T-taps on it, so we're going to use male spade connectors on the end of our wires, which in all honesty is a better connection than the inline taps that they provide you with. These are available at any local parts store, automotive stuff. They're very cheap and easy to get. So we'll grab our wire strippers and crimpers. We're going to go ahead and strip our wires out a little bit so we can crimp our connectors on. So we'll go ahead and get these in here. We'll go ahead and do this for all 4 of our wires here. And make sure you have no stray pieces of wire hanging out. Twisting them like this is just something to do to make them easier to go into your connectors. So once we have that done, go ahead and install our connectors like so. And go ahead and crimp those down. And once you have them crimped, just give them a little tug, make sure your connection is secure. Then do that for all your other wires. Then once you have this done for this one, you can go ahead and do the same thing for your other harness. So now we're going to show you how to connect the adapter harness to your factory harness. Before we put our bumper back on, just for demonstration purposes, it's a lot easier to see this way. So you do have your red wire labeled to your fog light harness, and we already have our yellow and orange striped wire on our fog light connector tapped. So we'll go ahead and just install this male spade connector into our T-tap. And the rest of the wires are going to come to your factory turn signal harness. So we're going to go black to black on this one. And we'll go white to white. And our yellow is going to go to our brown and yellow striped wire on here. Now, it's always a good idea to test before you plug these in, so before you do that, you may want to go ahead and do that. We've already gone ahead with that. So once we have this hooked in on this side, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now for your ballast, you do have an option of 2 screw holes here. You could mount your ballast inside here somewhere. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to drill into our vehicle for that. You could also find a spot that would be easily able to zip tie or something like that, just as long as this is up and out of the way. We're actually just going to set ours in here on top of our washer reservoir, just to keep it out of the way. Like I said, you can make it your own, tuck it, clean it up however you want. That's just some options you have. So now we can go ahead and throw our bumper back on. Grab it here. Line up our top locators, top of the bumper. So now we'll go ahead and plug our turn signal into our adapter harness here. Now this kit does render your marker bulb connector ineffective, as it doesn't require it, so you won't need to plug that in, or your factory turn signal plug either, as this is tapped into it. So the only thing we're going to need to connect now is our fog light connector. So we'll go ahead and get that in place here. Make sure that seats. And again, remember our ballast isn't connected to anything right now, but you can secure that up how you like. Now once you have this done for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side, then we'll get the rest of our bumper buttoned up. So now we'll go ahead and get our bumper lined back up with our fender, with its locator tabs here. Make sure that goes in nice and flush. And remember, from the factory, you should have your little 7mm bolt going up through there. Again, we no longer have ours. Then once you have this done on this side, you can go ahead and do that on the other side so your bumper's lined up. And we'll get our fender liners back in place. So now we'll go ahead and get our fender liner back into place. And we can begin reattaching our push pins. Now we have this one in here. It's pretty worn out, so it didn't really come all the way out. That goes to your splash guard inside there. Get that one, and then we'll do the rest. Now we'll get our two out front here. Get our chassis one lined up. Then you also, from the factory, should have one down on the bottom of your splash guard here for your fender liner. Again, we don't have ours, it's no longer with us. Once you have this done for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side. Now we can go ahead and reattach our splash guard. So we'll start with our two push pins, one on either side here, followed by our 6 7mm bolts. Get our two in the middle here, using our 7mm socket. Get our ones in the rear here. Now that we have this done, we can go back up top, button everything up. So now we can go ahead and reinstall our 8mm bolts across the top of our bumper here. So we'll grab our 8mm socket, run these back in. Next, we can go ahead and pull our weather stripping back on the ends of our bumper here and reinstall what should be your factory 7mm bolts. Ours are Phillips heads as replacement. So we'll go ahead and run these in. Once you have this one in, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Next, we can go ahead and reinstall our upper radiator cover. So we'll get this set into place here, make sure all of our holes line up, nothing's being pinched. Then we'll go ahead and reinstall all of our push pins. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our MP Concepts LED sequential turn signals for your 15 to 17 Mustang. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.